Troy Bakewell for Indie Gear Solutions, and today I'm going to give you a video tour of one of our 3-ton packages. We have two of them. This one is our Elwood package, and we have another one which is our Jake package. They're virtually identical. Additionally, we have our big 10-ton package, which we call our Big Lebowski. We're going to give you a video tour of this thing, and the first thing you're probably going to notice about it is that it's a trailer and not a conventional 3-ton truck. We did that for a couple of reasons, but primarily for economics. What we've discovered is that commercial trucks are just getting more and more expensive to operate, especially because of insurance. The insurance rates just keep going up every single year. It's really starting to get crazy. So we went with a trailer package and kind of accidentally discovered that there's lots of advantages to a trailer versus a conventional truck. There are, however, two disadvantages of this over a conventional truck. The biggest being that sometimes it's harder to find someone who's proficient in backing one of these things up. It's actually not that hard to do once you get the hang of it, and what I would suggest is if you have somebody who's not very comfortable with this, have them watch there are hundreds of YouTube videos on how to do this out there, and I would just have somebody watch the YouTube videos and then maybe practice in a parking lot, take some of the traffic cones out, and after an hour or two they'll probably have the hang of it. It's not that big of a deal. The big danger with that is you don't want them to jackknife it, because then you can damage the trailer and the truck, but it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. So the other disadvantage of the trailer is that there aren't any jockey boxes on it. However, this is an 18-foot V-nose trailer with a full 8-foot height in the ceiling, and it actually works out to have about the same cubic footage as a traditional 16-foot 3-ton truck. So that turns out to be a wash. However, we had to be a little more creative of where we put some stuff in there, like our sandbags, for example, stuff that would normally be in the jockeys. But what we've discovered mainly with this is that the advantages far outweigh the disadvantages, because this thing is so much faster and easier to use. Most G&E guys at first are kind of apprehensive and not excited about working on a trailer, but after a day or two, they love the thing. Almost every single one of them. And the main reason is that because it's so much lower to the ground, it's much, much faster to work off of. The rear gate comes down into a ramp, as does the side door, folds into a ramp, and it's so much easier to wrap out at the end of the night. You can run in and out of it real fast if you need to run, get a C-stand or a flag or something like that. They just tend to love it after a couple days because it's just so much faster to use than the lift gate. There's also a couple other advantages to the trailer. The big one being that it's much smaller and much lighter. Sometimes you have a location which is down an older road or something like that, and they have weight restrictions mainly. This thing is way lighter than a commercial truck because most of the weight is actually in the contents. The trailer itself is relatively light compared to a commercial 3-ton truck. So that's a huge advantage. The other one is that you can actually drop this thing and then use the vehicle as a regular, passenger transport or whatever you need it for, if you're at a location for a couple days. And I've had a lot of producers just love that, because now they've got one more vehicle to send a PA to go get something, or to transport people to and from set. So that's another advantage. But the biggest advantage of this thing is that it's just so much faster to work out of, and G&E guys love it. They just love it by the end of the show, and usually after just a couple days they're like, wow. So I'm going to give you a video tour of what's inside. First I'm going to puke it for you, everything that's in the aisle, and then we'll go over that. But I'll show you what's in the aisle, and then we'll go inside and I'll give you a total tour of what's inside, and you'll get a better feel for it. All right, rolling.
Yes, we are.
All right, cool. So we've just puked the truck, and you can kind of see that the only thing that comes out of the side door are the traffic cones, and then a couple of the gas cans, which you don't really have to puke, but I pulled them out just so it's a little more room in there as we go over it. And then you'll see on the side I ran an extension cord on a spool to an EU 2000 Honda, a little putt-putt, which is in front of the Excursion just for sound for this video, that powers all the lights inside. Over here is what comes out of the aisle. We have a third EU 6500 generator. There are 3 of these on board. The other 2 are tucked away in the truck and do not go in the aisle. Then we have 2 muscle carts. One is primarily for sandbags and the other is primarily for 60 amp cable. I noticed that the guys didn't really spool that 60 amp cable right on the last show. I'm gonna have to redo that. And then we also have this cart, which is almost exclusively for apple boxes, although it can be used for sandbags as well. But we have some of the, it's just easier to get these on set if they're on a cart. So we have a good selection here, and then we also have more in the truck. And then lastly, we have our stinger cart. This has our longer 60-foot stingers on it. This is great for like night exteriors where you just need a lot of stingers. You're gonna grab this whole cart and you can wheel it right to set. Additionally, we have shorter stingers and milk crates, which are great for like kinos and that kind of a thing. Then lastly, I took the ladders out. There are 3 step ladders on board, and they actually hang on hooks in there, but I just took them out because so there's more room for me to maneuver in here to kind of give you a tour of what's inside. So let's go inside here in a second and I'll show you what's inside. Okay, so in the back of the truck we have our 4x cart, and it's a pretty big 4x cart. In addition to 3 shiny boards for DX stuff, I have a lot of empty gel frames, and most of them are already skinned with diffusion and a few of them with CTO and CTB. Then we have 11 gel frames on board for a 3-ton package. That's a ton. And then we have 11 floppies. Actually 8 of them are floppies and 3 are solids, as well as a couple 4x4 foam cores, and I think we have a 1 single and 2 double nets, 1 silk, and a muslin floppy as well. Additionally, on this cart we have all kinds of pizza boxes and other smaller reflectors attached. We just kind of stick them here. On top is where we keep our expendables, all our gel rolls. And the way I work the gel rolls is I just ask you to buy a roll or 2 depending on how much you think you're going to use, and then just leave it in the truck when you're done. I don't want to waste time cutting and measuring. It just becomes a hassle, and that's part of the reason why we keep our rates so low, is that I don't have a lot of manpower wasting on this kind of stuff. So there's generally a ton of stuff on board, and this package in particular has been out for a while, so there's a lot of expendables on board. Of course, for stuff like gaff tape and paper tape and that kind of a thing, and even black foil, you probably need to get those because those go fast and get used up, obviously. So this is our 4x cart. Lastly, below our 4x cart we keep 2 crates full of the shorter stingers. There are 6 per crate, so there are 3 of these on board, 2 below here, and then there's another one up here I'll point out. But that's just great. You grab a crate and you go, if you're doing an interior shot and you just need to power some Kinos or some 1.2s or something like that, you're good to go. Then over here we have our HMI, our big stuff. You notice these are of course the track wheels for the doorway dolly that we have strapped in front. We also have a Dana dolly on board, so these don't get used as often because the Dana dolly is a lot faster to use. But over here we have our 2 Silver Bullet 4K pars, and then we have Silver Bullet 2.5 pars back here. Below here are the lenses. These are the 4K lenses, and then the 2.5 lenses are split between here and here. Down here you'll see our ballasts. We have 3 of these black ballasts. They're all electronic. These operate off of 240 volts, and they'll power either the 2.5 or the 4Ks. You do need a little pigtail for the 4Ks, which are in this box. Then this last blue ballast is exclusively for the 4K. So you're able to power all 4 lights, all electronic ballasts, all flicker free. They're really great. Lastly, on this crate, I mentioned we have the pigtails for the 4K. We also have some twist locks to go 240 out of a single generator to 60 amp baits. Now remember, the 60 amp Bates cable actually is capable of 120 amps at 240 volts. So it's great. These are great if you don't want to use the parallel kit, which allows you to take the power from 2 generators and run it on a Bates cable to our transformer, which I'll probably do a separate video on that because it's kind of a complicated thing, but it's great. It allows you to power a lot of stuff off of 2 Honda EU 6500s. But if you're just running a single 4K, you can pop a pigtail on here and go off of 1 generator. It's a lot faster than having to set up the whole parallel kit. But we'll go over that. And then lastly, on top here, we have a total of 6 families of Apple boxes on board. So the auxiliaries go in here, and then the rest of them are usually living on the cart. And so that'll take care of the back. I'm going to bring in a little further here and we'll take a look at it and we'll go over that. Okay, so we go further back in the truck, and right behind the 4x cart, we have, in between here, we keep our floppies, our big, what is this, 24x72. There's 4 of them, 2 of the smaller ones, I'm not exactly sure. I think 18x62 and 24x72 flops. And then on the back of the 4x cart, we keep 4 combo stands. Additionally, so these roll out with the cart, which is nice if you need to wheel. Most everything on here is on wheels with the exception of the big HMIs. Then back here we have another 4 combo stands, and then back here we have 4 beefy babies. There are additional stands in the front of the truck, but we'll go over these. Up on top we have dolly track. We have 3 8-foot lengths and a single 4-foot length, and then we keep all of our frames up here. We have 2 12x frames, 2 6x frames, and a single 8x frame as well. As we come back here further, we have our taco cart, which has most of the gripology stuff. We've got C stands or C clamps. We've got all kinds of nail-on baby plates and junior plates and a wall spreader, and we also have a what's it called, a menace arm kit. Also, we have a little bit of electric in here. Here we've got our 8 dimmers on this side, and then offset arms and Cardellinis and Mayfers, and then we also have a bunch of fatheads on here, or lollipops, depending upon what part of the country you're in. So that is our taco cart. In addition, we have all our 2x and 18x flags, and then I also have a little kit of these little tiny ones. I can't remember what those are called. Up on top, we have our other rack of stingers. These are the 30-foot stingers. There's 6 per crate, so we have a total of 18 of these, which is a lot of stingers for a 3-ton package. Up here we have our smaller tungsten units. We have a single 300 600 water and 2 420 waters LTM peppers in here, and then over here we have another 200. We have two more 300, 600 watt peppers. The 1Ks and 2Ks are further in the front. So that's the taco cart. That kind of takes care of that. Next we'll go over on this side and I'll show you what's in the Kino cart. On this side we have our Kino cart. But before we go there, I forgot to mention that this is where we keep our overflow sandbags. So there are a lot of sandbags on this package. There are actually a total of 25. I've got 10 of the 45-pounder ball busters, and then I've got 15 of the 35-pounders. I don't have any 25-pounders. I just like 35-pounders better. They tend to hold more stuff. Also on top of here, I remember we went over the apple boxes, but we also have an entire crate full of Duvet cuts and an entire crate full of dolly wedges as well. Let's get back to the Kino cart. So the Kino cart has a lot of cool stuff on here, including all of our cables and our ballasts on here, and then we also on here have our LED stuff. We have 2 light panel Geminis. These are the RGB type lights which are up here. We have of course the grates for them and the soft boxes for them. These are basically sky panels. I prefer them over sky panels actually because the ballast is all one unit. As well as the Kinos, we have quasars, and the list, every kit has a different number of quasars on, but I think we have 3 4-footers and 2 2-footers, and we have a couple of the battery powered quasars as well on board. And then on top of this, we have all of our 12 by, 6 by, and 8 by rags, and we have a really good selection of those on board. Oh, and then one of the crates down here also has the smaller 100, 200 watt LTM lights as well. So we have kind of these 2 carts that are kind of a combination of grip electric. Basically, we have some overflow electric on here is basically the whole deal. So that's the Kino cart, that's the taco cart. We're going to switch gears and come through the other door, and I'll show you what's in the front of the trailer. So this is the side door, which is on a nice ramp, which is great for accessing the 2 Honda EU6500s which are in here. Those usually stay put and they're not in the aisle, so there's only one of them that have to puke. This is our transformer. This thing is kind of cool, although you don't 100% need it. What this does is it drops 240 volts down to 120 volts. So let's say you have a location where there's no house power at all and you want to use generator power for your Kinos and your smaller heads and your 1.2s and 1Ks and that kind of a thing. Then what you would do is you'd run your 60 amp baits at 240 into this thing, and there's a 240 in, there's a 240 out, then there are 3 120 outs that you can just go to wood heads, and now you've got regular Edisons. You can plug in all your 120 stuff that works off of an Edison. This can technically come off the trailer if you don't have any locations like that, and some G&E guys just want to get rid of this because it does have to come off before the generators come out. But anyway, so that's that. This is our parallel box, and like I said, I'm going to do a separate video for that. Behind it we have 2 1K Fresnels, and then this is where we have our 1x1 bicolor LEDs. These are the Soco Lands. There are 3 of these on here. These can operate battery power as well, so they're nice to have. On top of here we have a little shelf that you can't really see right now, but I have some beaver boards with baby pin and junior pin receivers, nails on, already ready to go, so you don't have to dink around with that. They're just good to go. You grab them. And then of course we have our Fernie pads tucked away in here as well. There's some of them up here. This crate has our wood heads and our 60 amp 8 splitters. So that's really nice. For example, if you want to run 2 2.5s off of one generator, you can just run one line and then split off, and you can run them both and you're good to go. So that's kind of what's up here. Over here we have our 1.2 HMIs, and I have the header cables here, so it's kind of hard to see. Maybe I should have taken those off. But we have 1 Fresnel and 2 PARs on this package. 2 of them are the magnetic ballast, one's an electronic ballast, but the magnetic ballasts are those newer ones, so they're not really any lighter, or they're not much heavier than the electronic ballasts. Up here we have our 2 2K Fresnels, and then we have 2 750 watt LECO Source 4s with a total of 5 lenses. So we have 2 50-degree lenses, 26-degree lenses, and then a single 36-degree lens as well. Then lastly we have our C-stand cart right here, and I've designed all these carts, by the way, so that you can access everything without having to unstrap them. So in this case you can pull a C-stand off and leave the cart attached, strapped to the wall, no problem. There are 16 C-stands on here, I believe, 3 Gary Colemans. In addition, this is a great little set cart because there are 2 milk crates in here. Right now I think they have tennis balls and rope on through them, but sometimes on a show guys will turn this into a set cart and you know, have some grippage on here, you know, have a couple duckbill things and you know, some Cardellinis and Mayfors and that kind of thing in there. Lastly, I'm going to point to them. You might have to come in to see them, but we have the rest of our stands here. We have up on top, right behind here, which you can't see, but we have two Dana Dolly lowboys, which are made by American Grip. They're really awesome for the Dana Dolly. The Dana Dolly is right here, and the speed rail was up on the rack. I forgot to point that out where the dolly track was, but you know where that is. Then in addition, we have our big, down here we have a couple more combos. We have our 5th Beefy Baby, and we have another lowboy combo as well. So there's a total of let's see, there's a total of 10 regular size combos, 2 and 3 risers. There's 3 lowboys. 2 of them are the Dana Dolly specials, which can double as regular lowboys. And then we have 2 Beefy Baby preemies on there as well. And then of course over here we have our 2 high rollers and our 2 Mambo combo stands as well. Lastly, we have on a hook right here just a mini boom in case you don't want to use the menace arm. This is sometimes cute for just hanging smaller Fresnel lights, or you could put a Kino on there as well. So and then behind here of course is our doorway dolly, and then we have a 10 by 10 pop-up. If it's raining, you want to put your stuff under there as well. And that's pretty much it. So that's our Elwood grip package, and it's pretty much everything you need for a low budget movie. It's a nice little package, and guys love this trailer after a while because they can just run in and run out, and these carts pop off. I mean, they can be loading the 4x cart, the taco cart, while somebody else is loading the Kino cart and the C-stand cart off of this side. And same thing with generators. They're just not having to wait for the lift gate to go up and down, and they just love it in general. So that's our Elwood package, and thanks for watching. Alright, so I forgot to mention one thing that's awesome about this trailer, and that is the lighting on it. We have 3 LED lights in here, and it's daytime so you can't really tell, but at night you can see anything in this trailer. It's awesome. And then we have 2 separate circuits, one for these 2. These are the 100 watt LEDs. I think they're equivalent to like 1200 watts in tungsten, and they are bright as crazy on a separate switch. And then we also have a 3rd light on the side of the trailer, which is just as bright for that side door on a separate switch. And the reason I say that is because sometimes you'll be shooting a night exterior, and these bright lights are so bright that DP will have you shut them off. So I have all of them on separate switches. Additionally, there is a regular outlet here, and it's great for like charging your cell phones and that kind of thing, and plugging in radios. Grip's kind of like that. So all that stuff is all ready to go, as long as you have the thing powered, and you can power with the putt-putt generator, which isn't pictured here, but everybody knows what an EU2000 is, which you can also use to run a HMI, by the way, 1.2 or a tungsten or whatever. That powers the trailer, and you're good to go. However, if you're near, you know, if you're at a location where you can just run the Stinger, I have this long Stinger here, I think it's 200 feet, that you can just coil in. You don't have to burn the gas of the generator, and that works out really great. So that's everybody, all the guys just love these lights. They're brighter than any other lights on any other grip truck, and so when you're working at night, you don't really need the headlamps unless you're out on location, so it works out great. So thanks for watching.